Dashi delay. Dashi delay. Okay, back to our second session of remembering the Omniscient Master, Longchenpa. This is a praise to Longchenpa, probably the first praise that I know of Longchenpa. This piece has been with me for more than 30 years. It's in my prayer book.
No sound, Kembola.
Sound.
No sound. Okay, sorry. Okay. This is the praise to Longchenpa. This piece has been with me for more than 30 years. See here, this was when I was in Shedra. Handwritten praise to Longchenpa. Okay, ready for the second session. So please bring in mind the precious motivation of the Bodhisattva once again. Wishing to bring all motherly sentient beings to the state of perfect and complete Buddhahood, I will engage on this auspicious anniversary of the Omniscient Master Longchenpa's 668th years passing. So, and then of course it dissolved into Dharmakaya, but his immediate reincarnation was the great king of Terten Pamalingpa, you know that. So that so wonderful that we are able to connect with his teachings and to be able to practice and remember and be inspired by his teachings. We always invoke his blessings so that we have the confidence to remember that our innate nature is inseparable from his wisdom. So now what we will do is, first of all, we'll do the Lama calling from afar. So there is a chanting, we'll sing along with that. It's page 27, the Lama calling from afar. This is the Lama calling afar by composed by Khenpo Ngakchung. So how he calls his Lama. Where is that? Page 27. Okay, so make sure your microphone is muted, because when mics are on, then what it does is, it disturbs sound. So, okay, page 27. Lama coming from afar do Lama Champas. Tada, got to do. And then dash. Okay, page 27. You have the text, Pajutan Lama Rinpoche, that's the one. So that you can the same text to that we read the Chenze from. Chenze, not the, yeah, the Guru Yoga text. Page 27 yandala. Page 27. Anidire meg animembem. Page 27. Yeah. Okay.
Jetse lama rainbow che kisange kinda yeme be de me be bula tuze be tegi se chogi tsizone la samshi ge wa shi Longchenpa Pakiki Jina Mimeya Jinyemo Dabe Yonzone Lena Bejeba Davite Dinima Ngadui Senjenam Wokni soya za konado Paduji zikshi Longchenpa Denga je namla demachi Chunga je namla chugede Lamnil ma dupa jimadin Dakira mimbar resami Katu jezi shi Longchenpa Nashin jibu jami de Dilo da jagi dinesi Chinam yin javi bane de Dema lu xin jung ye da Pa tu je zi xin Longchenpa Ji wang bu sel zi ji bi zim Li da la bab zi dewi Dagi shi ko ba jubi te chi shama dia chi ni so pa tu ji zi shi Longchenpa ra de ba de cha de wa mi no ki wa de cha ke mi do ba de ja raji bu sanji tin par do wa ni pa tu ji zi shi Longchenpa zi di ba cha phen bi thi number dui tha la ji da Pita sum ye vi mi nam ji La ra do ba shi du ga Pa tu je zi shi Longchenpa Ji ku yi chu la ni bo mi Ge mi ta li la ni bo mi Dinam ka shawi jatsu ji Didim ba zuya yene do Pa tu je zi shi Longchenpa Ya sangi nam la di ba mi Ma sim chi nam la nin ji chung Gumi genja sunin ta da puti shaya de gu chu Patuji zishi Longchenpa Chete pa maya nimadu Shiba toya jema de neri dim cha chimna si mi ta ta ji cha nyam nyo mi pa tu ji si shi no che ba ni shin ki ge cha chu ri Ragoni riwa ima zo Ni shingi go 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 ni Dubrangi gyumba malasa Patuji zishi no chemba Kungiwi sura maliki Simjila ipi mi semba Kitamba dubji the samji Bethar bilamdo yedo Patuji zishi no cheba Nachibi zugi jitendo Magiu gungi chebalin Teyayin jami ngadu da Uktoge dodu jita Paduji zishi no cheba Dadile jowa dinege Yasange nama sewa de Jini mi dugi senji da Gechu su zulji da sola Paduji zishi no cheba Gungala resa shinami Jajagi gidu kirashi Izami dechi putani Gyunkita yeme ruchi sho
Back to page 37. We'll do now the recitation. Change the katlayga. Namke Nezu Namka Gangwa Ye Lama Ye Dam Kandru Tsonam Dang Sangye Chedam Pambe Geden La Dadan Drogen Gebe Chamsun Che. Within the expansive space to the pervasive assemblies of lamas, yidams, and takinis, Buddhas, Dharma, and noble sanghas, I and all sentient beings humbly take refuge. Here, insert Sangye Chedan Tsoge Chonam La. Sangye Chedan Tsoge Chonam La, Janchu Bando Dane Chamsun Che. Tagi Jinsoi Gebe Senam Ke Drola Benjer Sangye Drumbara Sho. In the Buddha, Dharma, and the noble Sangha, I take refuge until attaining enlightenment. Through the merit of generosity and other perfections, may I accomplish Buddhahood to benefit sentient beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and the noble Sangha, I take refuge until Buddhahood. Through the merit of I accomplish Buddhahood to benefit sentient beings. Dadan Taye Semje Nam Yene Sangye Yemba La Yembara Shebe Danendo Chanchu Chondu Semgendo. I and all boundless sentient beings are Buddhas from the primordial beginning. In order to know it to be what it is, I cultivate my mind towards Supreme Bodhicitta. Semjen Tamjen Dewa Dan Deve Jodan Dembara Juruji Dunga Dan Dunga Ge Jodan Drewara Juruji Dunga Meben Dewa Dan Midre Wara Juruji Nirin Chadan Dan Drwe Tanyom Tseme Bala Nebara Juruji. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never part from happiness that is free from suffering. May they abide in boundless equanimity, free from the partiality of desire and hatred to near and far. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never part from happiness that is free from suffering. May they abide in perfect equanimity, boundless equanimity, free from the partiality of desire and hatred to near and far. Penden den lain dani ge ge dambo sange yumi juruwe ku marase gen me kiltun nyam shanze Chalai Pema Marapo Aye Tsen Chaye Londo Shinkam Shambarashu Dorje Juke Rayan Korode Shab Tramba Tamche Juke Rang Ro Korwa Dondru Shizo Chen Boro Juru. Upon the lotus and moon seat, instantaneously, I am in the wisdom form of the primordial Buddha, unchanging light. Radiant red, naked, seated in Dorje Kiltron, and hands resting in the gesture of great equality. On my tongue is an R syllable upon a red lotus. All pure realms are encompassed within the expanse of rainbows and lights. The sounds and melodies of the Vajra Tantra pervade samsara and nirvana. All sound resonate with the natural sound of the Tantra. Samsara is emptied from its depth, becoming the supreme perfect basis. Okay, now we'll read the Chöngze in English. ಇನ್ನಿದು ಒಂದು ಬ್ರೌನ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ನೇಮ್ ಇದೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದೇವಿ. Anything. Page 1. Okay. The precious treasury of the basic space of phenomena. In Sanskrit, Dharma Dhatu Ratna Koshanama. In Tibetan, Choing Rinpoche Jai Jawa. Homage to glorious Samanta Bhadra. Naturally occurring timeless awareness, utterly lucid awakened mind, is something marvelous and superb, primordially and spontaneously present. It is the treasury from which comes the universe of appearances and possibilities, whether of samsara or nirvana. Homage to that unwavering state, free of elaboration. The very pinnacle of spiritual approaches, the expanse in which the sun and the moon orbit the most majestic mountain, is the expanse of the Vajra heart essence, spontaneously present and utterly lucid. The expanse of the naturally settled state that entails no effort or achievement. Listen as I explain this superb, timelessly infinite expanse. Within the expanse of spontaneous presence is the ground for all that arises. Empty in essence, continuous by nature. It has never existed as anything whatsoever, yet arising as anything at all. Within the expanse of the three kayas, although samsara and nirvana arise naturally, they do not stray from basic space, which is the blissful realm that is the true nature of phenomena. Mind itself is a vast expanse, the realm of unchanging space. It is indeterminate display. Its indeterminate display is the expanse of the magical expression of its responsiveness. Everything is the adornment of basic space and nothing else. Outwardly and inwardly, things proliferating and resolving are the dynamic energy of awakened mind. Because this is nothing whatsoever, yet arises as anything at all. It is a marvelous and magical expression, amazing and superb. Throughout the entire universe, all beings and all that manifests as forms are adornments of basic space, arising as the ongoing principle of enlightened form. What is audible, all sounds and voices without exception, as many as there may be, are adornments of basic space arising as the ongoing principle of enlightened speech. All consciousness and all stirring and proliferation of thoughts, as well as the inconceivable range of non-conceptual states, are adornments of basic space arising as the ongoing principle of enlightened mind. Beings born in the 6 classes through the 4 avenues of rebirth, who moreover do not stray in the slightest from the basic space of phenomena. The universe of appearances and possibilities, the 6 kinds of sense objects manifesting in dualistic perception, appears within the realm of the basic space of phenomena just as illusions do, manifest yet non-existent. Without underlying support, vividly apparent yet timelessly empty, supremely spacious and naturally clear just as it is, the universe arises as the adornment of the basic space of phenomena. However things appear or sound within the vast realm of basic space, they do not stray from their spontaneous equalness as dharmakaya, awakened mind. Since the timeless state of utter relaxation is naturally empty and without transition or change, whatever manifests constitutes the scope of naturally occurring timeless awareness, the true nature of phenomena. Merging in a single blissful expanse, without any effort, without anything needing to be done. Sambhogaka is unwavering natural lucidity. Even as anything at all manifests, it is by nature spontaneously present, uncontrived and unadulterated, a pervasive state of spontaneous equalness. True to the way in which the distinct mirrored display rises, emanations occur naturally, the amazing magic of what has ultimate meaning. They never stray from the wholly positive state in which nothing needs to be done. Within awakened mind itself, which is without pitfalls, the spontaneous perfection of the 3 kayas entailing no effort, is such that without straying from basic space, they are spontaneously present and uncompounded. The spontaneous perfection of the Kaya's timeless awareness and enlightened activity, moreover, is a great amassing, the supreme expense that is timelessly perfect, timelessly arising. Timelessly and spontaneously present, this pure realm is without transition or change. With the perception of the true nature of phenomena within basic space, wisdom arises continuously as the adornment of that base space. Not created or achieved, it abides timelessly. Like the sun in the sky, it is amazing and superb. Within this ultimate womb of basic space, timelessly and spontaneously present, samsara is wholly positive, nirvana is positive. Within the wholly positive expanse, samsara and nirvana has never existed. Sensory appearances are wholly positive and emptiness is positive. Within the wholly positive expanse, appearance and emptiness has never existed. Birth and death are wholly positive, happiness and suffering are positive. Within the wholly positive expanse, birth, death, happiness and suffering have never existed. Self and other are wholly positive, affirmation and negation are positive. Within the wholly positive expanse, self, other, affirmation and negation have never existed. Labeling takes place in confusion, for what is non-existent is taken to exist. Given that the nature of thing is similar to that of dream images, which has no basis, how exceedingly strange it is to fixate on samsara and nirvana, as though they have existed in their own right. Everything is wholly positive, a supreme taste of spontaneous presence. Since there never has been confusion, is no confusion, and never will be confusion, conditioned existence is merely a label. It is beyond the extreme of existence and non-existence, since no one has ever been confused at all in the past. No one is confused at present, and no one will be confused later on. This is the enlightened intent of the original purity of the three planes of conditioned existence. Since there is no confusion, nothing exists as some confused state. Supreme naturally occurring awareness is timelessly and spontaneously present. Since there never has been freedom, is no freedom, and never will be freedom. Nirvana is just a label, and there is no one who has ever known freedom. There never will be freedom, for there never has been bondage. Complete purity, like space, is free from being restricted or localized. This is the enlightened intent of the original purity of total freedom. In brief, within the ultimate womb of basic space, spacious and spontaneously present, whatever arises as the dynamic energy of its display, as samsara or nirvana, is the very moment of simply arising, has never known existence as samsara or nirvana. Whatever arises in a dream due to the dynamic energy of sleep does not actually exist. There is only self-knowing awareness, the blissful place of rest, extending infinitely as the supremely spacious state of spontaneous equalness. This is the first section of the precious treasury of the basic space of phenomena, demonstrating that samsara and nirvana by nature do not stray from basic space. Given that basic space is by nature primordially and spontaneously present, it is infinitely pervasive with no division into outer and inner. Without any limiting boundaries, it is beyond division into above and below or any other direction. Beyond the duality of spacious versus narrow, awareness pure like space is the very expanse, free of the elaborations of conceptual framework. The magical expressions that originate within unborn basic space are completely indeterminate and not subject to any restrictions whatsoever. They cannot be characterized as things, for they have no substance or characteristics. In that their nature is like the panoramic vista of space. They are unborn, spontaneously present, and free of any time frame, any beginning or end. The essence of all samsara and nirvana is awakened mind, spontaneously present, not occurring, not originating, and not finite. It does not come from anywhere, nor does it go anywhere at all. The expanse of awakened mind with no linear time frame does not come or go, for it is infinitely pervasive. The true nature of phenomena, suchness, has never no beginning, middle, or end. This state of infinite evenness, equal to space and pure by nature, has no beginning or end. It is beyond any time frame. It is unborn, unceasing, has no substance or characteristics. It neither comes nor goes and cannot be characterized as something. It involves no effort or achievement or anything needing to be done. The ground of suchness itself has no periphery or center. Since it is non-referential and uninterrupted, it is the expanse of equalness. Since the true nature of all phenomena is equalness, there is not a single thing that does not abide within the expanse of that equalness. The scope of awakened mind is a single taste of evenness in which everything is equal. Since it is unborn and infinite evenness so vast that it is equal to space, the scope of equalness is without interruption. Therefore, the fortress of infinite pervasiveness is spontaneously present and beyond extremes. The fortress of the spacious and timeless expanse has no division into higher and lower or in between. The fortress of unborn Dharmakaya encompasses everything impartially. The fortress of the precious secret is unchanging and spontaneously present. The universe of appearances and possibilities, whether of samsara or nirvana, is perfect as the timeless fortress of a single state of equalness. On this infinite foundation, extending everywhere impartially, the stronghold of awakened mind does not distinguish between samsara and nirvana. Its imposing and lofty summit is the spacious expanse that is the true nature of phenomena, at the very center of the panorama of this uncreated nature. The entranceway that frees one from developmental effort is wide open. Within that palace adorned by the spontaneously present array of wealth, the king, naturally occurring timeless awareness, sits on his throne. All aspects of the dynamic energy of that awareness manifesting as thoughts that proliferate and subside, serve as ministers exercising control over the domain. The Holy Queen, naturally abiding meditative stability, is accompanied by the royal heirs and servants, naturally arising enlightened intent. This encompassing expanse of supreme bliss is naturally lucid and non-conceptual. Within that very context, unwavering and beyond imagination or description, mastery is gained over the entire universe of appearances and possibilities. This is the vast dominion of the basic space of phenomena. If one abides in that domain, everything is dharmakaya. With no wavering from this single, naturally occurring timeless awareness, there is an unfabricated, timelessly ensured transcendence of effort and achievement. Given that the sphere of being without any hard edges is inclusive, everything just as it is encompassed within the expanse in which there is no differentiation or exclusion. Neither the realms of the 6 classes of beings nor even the pure realms of Buddha exist anywhere. They are the realm of space, the true nature of phenomena. Given that they are one taste in naturally lucid awakened mind, samsara and nirvana are fully encompassed within the scope of awareness. In this treasure of the basic space of phenomena, the source of everything, nirvana is timelessly and spontaneously present, without having to be sought. So within Dharmakaya, unchanging, non-referential, and infinitely extensive, the manifestation of the outer and inner universe is Sambhogakaya. And the natural arising of things like reflections is Nirmanakaya. Since there is no phenomena that is not perfect as an adornment of the 3 kayas, everything arises as the display of enlightened forms, speech, and mind. Moreover, without exception, the countless pure realms of the Sugatas arise from the very same source. mind itself and the expanse of the three kayas, as well the cities of the six classes of beings, whose nature is that of samsara, are simply reflections arising within the scope of the basic space of phenomena. Moreover, the various manifestations of birth and death, pleasure and pain, are like the phantasmagoria within this expanse, mind itself. Although they do not exist, they appear too, and in manifesting they have no basis, and so are the like clouds in the sky, simply occurring advantageously due to circumstances. Neither existent nor non-existent, they are by nature beyond extremes, fully encompassed within the sphere of being, free of elaboration. Mind itself, that is the nature of awakened mind, is pure like space, and so is without birth or death, pleasure or pain. It has no substance to delimit it, and is free from the phenomena of samsara and nirvana. It cannot be characterized as something, and being as infinitely spacious expanse. It is unchanging, without transition, spontaneously present and uncompounded. Given that Buddhahood lies within the Vajra heart essence of utter lucidity, everything is naturally occurring realm of bliss, the very context of sublime enlightenment, a state of spontaneous equalness. This is the second section of the Everything is subsumed within all-inclusive awakened mind. Since there is no phenomena that is not included in awakened mind, the true nature of all phenomena is that of awakened mind. Space is the metaphor for awakened mind. Since that mind has no cause and is not an object that comes into being, it does not abide in any finite way, it's inexpressible and transcends the realm of the imagination. The phrase "the realm of space" is simply a way of illustrating it metaphorically. If even the metaphor itself cannot be described as something, how could the underlying meaning that it illustrates be imagined or described? It should be understood as a metaphor of what is true, naturally pure. The underlying meaning is that awakened mind is self-knowing awareness equal to space. It is not within the realm of the imagination, for it defies illustration or description. Naturally lucid and unwavering, the spacious expanse of utter lucidity is not created but is spontaneously present, with no fixed reach or range. Dharmakaya is the spacious domain, no place of arising or anything arising. Arising is simply a label, for if examined, it is found to be like space. Everything being encompassed within a supreme state of equalness without bias constitutes the expanse of infinite evenness, which entails no dualistic perception. Given that naturally occurring timeless awareness, the true nature of phenomena is boundless. Analogies are used so that it can be ascertained through metaphor. Underlying meaning and evidence, equal to space, that nature which subsumes everything and is without differentiation or exclusion, is exemplified these three linking factors. In the womb of basic space, a supremely spacious state of equalness, everything is timelessly equal, with no time frame of earlier or later, no better or worse. This is the enlightened intent of Samanta Bhadra of Vajra Sattva. Awakened mind can be compared to the sun. It is utterly lucid by nature and forever uncompounded, with nothing to obscure it. It is unobstructed and spontaneously present. Without elaboration, it is the scope of the true nature of phenomena, which does not entail concepts. In being empty, it is Dharmakaya. In being lucid, it is Sambhogakaya. In being radiant, it is Nirmanakaya. The three kayas do not come together or separate, since these enlightened qualities are already and forever spontaneously present. They are not obscured by the darkness of flaws and faults. They are identical in being without transition or change throughout the three times. identical in permeating all Buddhas and ordinary beings alike. This is called naturally occurring awakened mind. Its dynamic energy arises as anything at all. Things arise, none of them has any independent nature whatsoever. Like water in a mirage, a dream, an echo, a phantom emanation, a reflection, a castle in the air, or a hallucination, all things are clearly apparent, yet do not truly exist. They are merely manifest adventitiously without basis or support. You should realize that all these manifestations are temporary adventitious phenomena. Due to the nature of spontaneously present awakened mind, there is a continuous display, the magical illusion of samsara and nirvana. Since that entire magical display is fully encompassed within basic space, you should know that it does not stray from the scope of primordial being. Within this, everything is the scope of awakened mind. With that single perfection, all is perfect without being made so, everything is perfect. Naturally occurring timeless awareness is by nature spontaneously perfect. Given that awakened mind is neither apparent nor not apparent, the outer and inner worlds of samsara and nirvana do not exist as phenomena, yet arise nonetheless as a mirrored display. The universe of appearance and possibilities, whether of samsara or nirvana, because they are by nature the stirring of mind's dynamic energy. In simply arising, forms are by nature empty. From what is unborn, there manifests what seems to be born. But even if it manifests, nothing whatsoever has been born. From what is unceasing, there manifests what seems to cease, but there is no cessation. These are illusory expressions of emptiness. Even with abiding, there is nothing that abides. There is no basis on which anything could abide. Within the context in which there is no coming or going, regardless of what manifests, it never exists or what it seems to be. And so one is reduced to merely labeling it as having no interdependent nature. Sensory appearances, moreover.
I don't have English law.
Who?
English part law. Phone number jump it on.
Kalutan.
No, only text.
Okay, we'll finish this. Sensory appearances, moreover, arise naturally due to the dynamic energy of awareness. And so their nature is described in a pure symbolic way as one of the interdependent connection. Even in the very moment that things seems to arise due to that dynamic energy, they do so without being subject to extremes or divisions, with no question of whether or not something arises, and even dynamic energy is just a symbolic term, with no finite essence whatsoever. So within the context that is never subject to transition or change, nothing strays in the slightest from awakened mind. This is the third section of the precious treasure of the basic space of phenomena, presenting the metaphor for awakened mind. Just a moment, we need to send a text. Chirab on the bed. Chalo tanchi patanda. Okay. Okay, we're on page 16, my copy. It is the nature of all-inclusive awakened mind that is not apparent, for it transcends that which is apparent. It is not empty, for it transcends that which is empty. It is non-existent, for it has no substance or characteristics. Nor is it non-existent, for it permeates all samsara and nirvana. neither existent nor non-existent. It is primordial basic space, spontaneous and uniform, not subject to extremes or division, and without substance, foundation, or underlying basis. Uninterrupted awareness is the expanse of awakened mind. Without transition or change, the sky of basic space is timelessly and
infinitely existence.
just a moment, my text got stuck. Basic space is timelessly and infinitely extensive. Naturally occurring timeless awareness, which has ultimate meaning, is that nothing compares to it, is subsumed within the single sphere of being, unborn and unceasing, indeterminate and all-pervasive. It is absolutely without limiting extremes. The legacy of the Vajrahat essence is one of the unwavering spontaneity and equalness. The immensity of sublime basic space, which is not made or unmade, is not some finite range that can be characterized with words. It is the welling forth of an expanse of sublime knowing, the scope of one's self-knowing awareness. A yogin who is free from conceptual and descriptive elaborations comes to a decision that whether it can be characterized or not is irrelevant, since neither meditation nor anything to meditate on can be discovered. There is no need to slay the enemies of dullness, agitation, and thought. Within the timelessly abiding omnipresent state, the true nature of phenomena, there is no concept of self or others. And so the three realms of them, the realms themselves constitute a pure realm of natural equalness. For victorious ones of the three times, awareness' own manifestations are pure, since everything constitutes a single state of equalness with nothing to renounce or accept. There is nothing in the slightest to attain anywhere elsewhere. All phenomena are clearly evident within the vast expanse of mind itself, yet they do not stray in the least from the ultimate meaning of equalness. There is no division into outer and inner, and no disturbance due to thoughts arising and subsiding. The foundation awakened mind dispels the darkness of extremes. With nothing having to be renounced, the potential for errors is cut through as a matter of course. The world of myriad ways in which being perceived, and even the kayas and timeless awareness of pure Buddhahood. All that permeates the realm of basic space are a continuous display, arises due to dynamic energy, either in light of realization or its absence. There is simply realization or its lack within the realm of basic space of phenomena. For those with realization who have reached a state of bliss, there is pure phenomena, perception. For those without it, there is non-recognition of awareness and the habitual patterns of dualistic perception, from which sensory appearances manifest in all their variety, though none of these strays from basic space. Awakened mind is the actual state of everything. It exhibits an unceasing equality. Whatever arises in all its variety is naturally and clearly apparent, evident within pure basic space, the true nature of phenomena. There is no division or exclusion. The mode of awareness is without restriction. Unobstructed, timeless awareness, the naturally occurring spacious expanse, yet utterly lucid, unobscured, with no divisions into outer and inner. And so self-knowing awareness is the great radiant mirror of mind. The precious gem that provides for all ones is the basic space of phenomena. Since everything occurs naturally without having to be sought, naturally occurring timeless awareness is the splendid source of all one could wish for. However many great qualities can be enumerated, they come from basic space or basic space, arising continuously as sublime skillful means. Since everything is spontaneously perfect in unborn basic space, the substance of things is outshone by their emptiness as the expanse of enlightenment, while the emptiness is outshone by self-knowing awareness as the expanse of enlightenment. In awakened mind, appearances and emptiness have never existed, but do not fixate on non-duality, for the inconceivable miraculous display still occurs. With no time frame, the unbound basic space of phenomena is an unchanging, undivided, and uncompounded expanse. Throughout the three times, Buddhahood is awareness, the basic space of timeless awareness. The expanse of enlightenment of self-knowing awareness that outshines dualistic perceptions. With no divisions into outer and inner, the true nature of phenomena is spontaneous and spacious. This is the fourth section of the precious treasure of the basic space of phenomena, demonstrating the nature of awakened mind. So on page 20, beginning on the 5th chapter. Within mind itself, the essence of awakened mind. There is no view to cultivate in meditation, no conduct to undertake, no fruition to achieve, no levels of realizations or paths to traverse, no mandala to visualize, no recitation, repetition, or stage of completion, no empowerment to be bestowed, and no samaya to uphold. In the pure state that is the true nature of phenomena, timelessly and spontaneously present. Such adventitious factors of developmental effort and causality are transcended. The essence of this factors is awakened mind, unobscured by clouds of darkness, the sun shines in the sky by its very nature, not as something adventitious. Any teaching concerning the 10 attributes that involve effort and achievement is given in response to the confusion that occurs adventitiously due to the dynamic energy of awareness. It is a skillful means for engaging those acumen requires development through effort. It is not given to yogins who genuinely experience the ultimate meaning of the Vajra heart essence, Ati Yoga. So that individuals who exert themselves in order to progress developmentally may be led to primordial basic space, the true nature of phenomena. There are the spiritual approaches of the Shravaka, the Pratyeka Buddha, and the Bodhisattva. These are the stages demonstrated on the three lesser levels. The three divisions of Kriya, Upa, and Yoga are by their very nature the three intermediate levels. The three divisions of Maha, Anu, and Ati manifest primordially as the three higher levels. By opening the doorway that leads beyond other approaches based on causes or result, they guide fortunate beings to the three levels of enlightenment. The culmination of all these, moreover, is found in the ultimate meaning of the Vajra heart essence. They must lead toward this superb supreme secret, and so utterly lucidity, sublimely unchanging, is the pinnacle of them all. This is renowned as the spiritual approach of the heart essence of manifest enlightenment. Furthermore, of the two alternatives within spiritual teaching, one involves a concerted effort to accept or reject. It is taught in order to refine away the habitual patterns of ordinary mind and mental events, whose nature is to arise as a display due to dynamic energy. This approach holds that timeless awareness is purer than ordinary mind. The supreme teachings involves no concerted effort to accept or reject. Naturally occurring timeless awareness, the essence of awakened mind itself, is made fully evident in that one does not waver from the direct experience of it. So there is no need to strive for it elsewhere. It rests in and of itself, so do not seek it elsewhere. This, the ultimate meaning of suchness itself, is like the essence of the sun. I hold that it abides as a natural state of rest, unwavering, utterly lucidity. It can be shown that other approaches are like attempts to create the already present sun, by dispelling clouds and darkness through a process of effort and achievement. Therefore, these two kinds of approach are as different as heaven and earth. Nowadays, those elephants who pride themselves on being Ati practitioners allege that thought patterns stirring and proliferating are awakened mind. All of these fools are submerged in darkness, far from the meaning of natural great perfection. They do not understand even dynamic energy or what arises from that energy, to say nothing of the essence of awakened mind. In this discussion of mind, primordially pure awakened mind, is ultimate truth, the true nature of phenomena as basic space. Beyond description or imagination, it is the perfection of sublime knowing. Inherently unwavering, it is utterly lucid by nature. They are timelessly free of elaboration, of concept stirring or proliferating, and so is called as sense of being, analogous to the orb of the sun. Its dynamic energy is unobstructed awareness as a continuous mode for what arises, and is free of both conceptualization and analysis. Though vividly lucid, it does not entail dualistic perception. Awareness expresses itself through its dynamic energy as consciousness that involves conceptual elaboration. Marked by the mirrored dualistic habitual patterns that such consciousness generates. Since what are not obstructed as misconstrued as objects, there are the 5 kinds of sense objects. And since what has no identity is invested within identity, there are the 5 afflictive emotions. This constitutes all possible confused perception of the universe and beings within it. Even what manifests as samsara arises due to that dynamic energy. But when this is not realized, the manifestation itself is one of erroneous perception. Though through realization within the vast expanse of being of the true nature of phenomena, coming from nowhere, going nowhere, and abiding nowhere at all, there is the enlightened intent of the total freedom of the 3 realms. This is the transmission of Ati, spontaneous presence, the Vajra essence, to view or anything that constitutes a view, not the slightest sense of anything to look at or anyone looking. There is no ordinary consciousness meditating or anything to meditate on. Due to the spontaneous presence without any duality of goal and conduct, there is not the slightest sense of any fruition to achieve. Regarding what is non-existent, there is no levels of realization to traverse, and so there are never any path to journey along. Since utter lucidity is already ensured as the supreme sphere of being, there are no mandalas to visualize through the proliferation and resolution of thoughts, and no mantras, recitations, empowerments, or samaya. There is no referential stage of completion such as a gradual process of dissolution. In the kayas and timeless awareness which are already ensured timelessly, there is no causality based on compounded adventitious circumstances. If any of these were the case, timeless awareness would not occur naturally. Being compounded, such awareness would be subject to destruction. And then how could it be characterized as spontaneously present and uncompounded? Therefore, within the essence of ultimate basic space, causality is transcended and the 10 attributes do not pertain. Mind itself, the ultimate meaning of genuine being, involves no effort or achievement. Please understand this in order to pacify all conceptual elaborations of existence and non-existence. This is the 5th section of the precious treasure of the basic space of phenomena, demonstrating the transcendence of effort and achievement, cause and effect. Okay, now chapter 6. Just as all light is subsumed within the sun as its source, all phenomena are subsumed within awakened mind as their source. Even the impurity and confusion in the universe of appearances and possibilities Whatever occurs by examining basic space as its matrix and abode, you find that it has no foundation but is subsumed within the timeless freedom of mind. Beyond labels and their meanings, confusions and its absence are subsumed within the true nature of phenomena, the timeless expanse, a supremely spacious state. Even the marvelous display of awareness' own pure manifestations, the three kayas, pure realms, timeless awareness, and enlightened activities, is subsumed within the natural occurring state that is not made or unmade. Awakened mind subsumes the universe of appearances and possibilities, all of samsara and nirvana. Lucid and uncompounded, it can be compared to the sun shining in the empty sky. Occurring primordially and naturally, it is a spacious, timeless expanse. Mind itself is an unchanging, vast expanse, the realm of space. Its display, the dynamic energy of awakened mind, is indeterminate. In that it entails the mastery over samsara, nirvana, and all spiritual approaches. This unique state in which nothing need to be done outshines everything else. There is no context anywhere that constitutes an extreme. There is no straying at all from the true nature of phenomena, awakened mind. Given that everything is wholly positive, arising as a single state of spontaneous presence, that which is sublime and without rival, the greatest of the great, within which everything without exception is subsumed, is the wholly positive basic space of phenomena. Since everything is united within it as though under a monarch, it entails mastery over all samsara and nirvana, and does not vapor at all. Since everything is wholly positive, with not a single thing that is not positive, all things are identical within the wholly positive state in which there is neither good nor bad. Since everything, whatever is or is not the case, is the same basic space, all things are identical within the unwavering, spontaneously present state of equalness. The single state from which everything without exception rises in the basic space of phenomena. There is nothing to achieve or seek within the context in which nothing need be done. Since effort and achievement are not other than the natural state of basic space, whence could effort come? To what achievement could it lead? Since there is no object to seek, nothing to perceive in meditation. Someone's microphone is on. Apa bebe kagina mute bela. Since there is no object to seek, nothing to perceive in Since effort and achievement are not other than natural state of basic space, whence could effort come? To what achievement could it lead? Since there is no object to seek, nothing to perceive in meditation, no state to achieve, nothing that comes from anywhere else, and no coming or going, there is equalness, dharmakaya, this spontaneous perfection is found within the basic space of supreme sphere of being. The transmissions of Shravaka, Pratyeka Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas are decisive concerning the non-existence of both the self and what pertains to it, and so they are identical in their intent, a space-like state free of elaboration. The transmission of Supreme Yoga, the sublime secret of Ati, is that of resting in genuine being, just as it is naturally occurring timeless awareness, within the spacious state in which there is no distinction between self and others. So the ultimate meaning of the enlightened perspectives of all three lower approaches is subsumed within this sublime hot essence. The three approaches of Kriya, Upa, and Yoga, moreover, which employ oneself, deity, meditative absorption, and clouds of offerings, are identical in holding that spiritual attainment comes from the complete purification of body, speech, and mind. However, according to the secret and most majestic transmission of the Vajra pinnacle, appearances, sounds, and awareness are completely pure, timelessly the deity. Spiritual attainment is fully evident as the complete purity of body, speech, and mind. And so the enlightened perspectives of all these approaches are subsumed within this sublime heart essence. In the three stages of Mahanu and Ati, moreover, the universe of appearances and possibilities is a pure realm of masculine and feminine deities. These stages hold that the unwavering nature of phenomena is naturally occurring timeless awareness. For basic space and timeless awareness are inseparable in their total purity. Given that everything is completely pure within this sublime, excellent secret, the immeasurable mansion without being created is a blissful realm, a timeless expanse. Within this infinite and all-pervasive state, which cannot be divided into outer and inner, there is nothing to characterize in light of your value judgments. With everything timelessly infinite, the spacious expanse of Dharmakaya, the enlightened perspectives of all these approaches are subsumed within the heart essence of the Supreme Secret. Perfection is one, perfection in one, perfection in everything, the expanse within which all phenomena are subsumed, is itself subsumed within the supreme state of spontaneous presence, a timeless and natural lucid state of utter relaxation. This is the sixth section of the precious treasure of the basic space of phenomena, demonstrating that everything is subsumed within awakened mind. Okay. The seventh chapter. The transmission of awakened mind spontaneously present by nature is the summit of the most majestic mountain, not created, yet ensuring all that has ultimate meaning. Exalted above all, it is the supreme and most majestic spiritual approach. Once one has reached the summit of a majestic mountain, one can see the valleys below all at once. While from the valleys, one cannot see what it is like at the summit. Similarly, Ati, the Vajra heart essence, is the pinnacle spiritual approach and sees what is meaningful in all others, while the lower approaches cannot see its ultimate meaning. Therefore, it is the pinnacle, the peak experience which is spontaneously present. It is like a great wish-fulfilling gem that it does not require effort or achievement. It is the superiority that is its superiority. Although those in the lower approaches strive through acceptance and rejection, they accomplish nothing for eons. What a great debility. Awakened mind, timelessly spontaneous and uniform awareness, the spacious nature of phenomena, just as it is, the naturally settled state, is Dharmakaya by nature, the expanse of primordial equalness. It is present in everyone, but within the reach of only a fortunate few. If left just as it is naturally ensured within that context. Sambhogakaya, infinitely pervasive, naturally lucid and spontaneously present, is present within everyone, but the perception of it is within the reach of only a few. If you rest naturally with whatever manifests, without conscious striving, it is evident. The continuous display is the infinite expanse of Nirvanagaya. It is present in everything, clear in the arising of things. It is the pure expanse of self-knowing awareness, the miraculous display of wish-fulfilling qualities and activities, moreover, is nowhere else. Like turbid water, when the sediments settle, it becomes clear if you rest in the naturally pristine state. The truth of primordial purity is not found by being sought. Enlightenment, Buddhahood, is evident within the naturally occurring expanse. Since it has already been accomplished, there is no need to achieve it anew. This naturally abiding greatness is enlightened intent, the expanse that is the true nature of phenomena. Make no effort concerning what is unchanging and spontaneously present. The timeless ground, the innately abiding ground, is the ground that is at the very heart of enlightenment. Since it does not stray at all from the context that is its nature, do not stray from the lucid expanse that is the ultimate meaning of awareness. The reason that everything is ensured by being left as it is lies in the unchanging, ever-present state of sovereign mastery, the five aspects of timeless awareness. The state of original Buddhahood, the five aspects each of enlightened form, enlightened speech, enlightened mind, enlightened qualities, and enlightened activity, is spontaneously present within the beginningless and endless expanse. Do not seek it elsewhere, for by nature it is timelessly ensured. Moreover, enlightenment, dharmakaya, as experienced by all Buddhas, is none other than the ultimate meaning of unchanging equalness. And since it is spontaneously present within the naturally occurring context, do not seek it, do not try to achieve it. Completely let go of hope and fear. Even the naturally occurring timeless awareness of all ordinary beings is unmade and unsought, and spontaneously present as Dharmakaya. So do not react with rejection or acceptance, but rest in this context of basic space. Within the essence of being spontaneous and uniform, unwavering and beyond deliberation, lies the spacious expanse of the ground of being, not created, yet ensuring all that has ultimate meaning. Unchanging and ever-present, the embodiment of the kayas and timeless awareness is the conferral of the supreme naturally occurring empowerment, like the investiture of a royal heir. Since the universe of appearances and possibilities is timelessly and spontaneously present, there is no need for concerted effort, for it is spontaneously present by nature. Everything is ensured, unfolding as the supreme state of spontaneous presence. This is the seventh section of this precious treasure of the basic space of phenomena, demonstrating that everything is timelessly and spontaneously present within awakened mind. Within naturally occurring timeless awareness, a single basic space, all things are present in such a way that they are in essence non-dual. Continuous dualistic perceptions arises as display due to the dynamic energy of awareness. In what is called awakened mind, there is no duality of sensory appearances and what the mind imputes about them. Within enlightenment, awareness without transition or change, the universe of appearances and possibilities, whether of samsara and nirvana, arises with nothing to renounce or attain. In the experience of yogins who do not perceive things dualistically, the fact that things manifest without truly existing is so amazing they burst into laughter. Although sensory appearances do not exist, they manifest in all their variety. Although emptiness does not exist, it extends infinitely, reaching everywhere. Although dualistic perception do not exist, there is still fixation on things having individual identity. Although they have no basis, a continual succession of lifetimes manifests. Although nothing exists that can be refuted or proved, pleasure is accepted and pain is rejected. Looking around, I find the perception of beings to be truly amazing. They fixate on what is not real as real, so that it certainly seems real. They fixate on confusion where there is no confusion, so that there certainly seems to be confusion. They reify what is indeterminate as determinate, so that it certainly seems determinate. They reify what is not so as being so, so that it certainly seems so. They reify what is untenable as tenable, so that it certainly seems tenable. Ordinary mind is seduced by trivial sense objects in all their variety. One's useless focus moment by moment extends into a continuum as days, months, years, whole lives go by. Beings are deceived by misconstruing what is not dualistic as dualistic. As a yogin with a pure mind looks inward, awareness without underlying support or basic is free of labels. It cannot be perceived in any way that can be characterized or described. Structured view and meditation are done away with. Given this state of infinite evenness, open, relaxed, and spacious, there is no sense of spiritual practice, for there is no distinction between formal session and the periods in between. Everything is unrestricted, completely equal, and uninterrupted. With no reference points, whether body or sense object or perception, there is infinite evenness within the undifferentiated vast expanse of space. So there is no inner agent that can be held to have identity. As you look outward at sense objects manifesting externally, everything is unobstructed, vivid yet ephemeral, random without any reference point. You perceive, hear, think, are aware, experience, and feel as never before. What in a dream, you burst out laughing at yourself. You are free of any notion of enemy or friend, attachment or aversion, near or far. Since there is a unique evenness in that everything is equal, without any distinction between day and night, samsara, the reifying of characteristics and reference points, is cleared away. Since you have no concepts about the scope of naturally occurring timeless awareness, you have transcended the cage of acceptance and rejection, or what is an antidote and what is to be abandoned. With such realization, there is non-dual timeless awareness. You have arrived at enlightened intent, naturally occurring wholly positive. You have arrived at the point of resolution with no chance of falling back. Without any realization of equalness in its naturally occurring state, you may obsess on the word non-duality and place your confidence in some state that you speculate has no frame of reference whatsoever. This is truly a mistaken notion, the dark realm in which awareness is not recognized. Therefore, it is in the naturally occurring state without transition or change that the most majestic perfection of goals is experienced non-duality, the total freedom of the three realms. The ultimate meaning of the non-duality of samsara and nirvana is the fortress of dharmakaya, the nature of being that arises inherently from within, such that it is completely pure like space, yet is in fact beyond all metaphors. As long as you remain fixated on individual things, on this or that, you remain caught in dualism, the cage of confusion entailing self and other. When you make no biased distinction of these, everything is the same in the state of equalness with no frame of reference, and so Vajrasattva declares, non-duality is realized. This is the 8th section of this precious treasure of the basic space of phenomena, demonstrating non-duality within awakened mind. Okay. Chapter 9. Within the single expanse, supremely spacious by nature, awakened mind, equal to space, is pivotal. Focus on this key point and distill it to its vital essence. It is the greatest of the great, wholly positive and spacious enlightened mind. In its very essence, it thoroughly shatters the outer confines of reality. Within this single vast expanse, there is no duality of realization versus its lack, of freedom versus its lack, but a supreme state of over abysses. So also a fortunate yogin who has realized the Vajra heart essence, just as it is, the pinnacle of all spiritual approaches, outshines those following lower approaches and crosses directly over the abyss of samsara. The freedom of everything abiding in the supreme state of equalness is unacceptable those involved in cause and effect, effort and achievement, but in the most sublime approach it makes perfect sense as the ultimate meaning of unwavering equalness. Everything is supreme bliss, equal to space itself, the expanse of Dharmakaya. There is nothing that is not free within the expanse of Dharmakaya. The true nature of everything is experienced intuitively as the kaya of the Vajra heart essence. The dynamic energy of this heart essence is perfect within the body born of habitual patterns. Once the body of conditioned existence between birth and death is cast off, awareness is experienced as a oneness in no way divisible. Once one has gained the empire on the level of spontaneous presence, emanations occur without restriction, and one can engage in every situation without impediment. Such is the domain of a yogin who is effortlessly borne on the wind. While this is unacceptable to anyone involved in lower spiritual approaches, it is shown by the Ati approach to make perfect sense. It is the key point of the fruition. Since the magical illusion of origination occurs within what has no origin, it is the ordinary confused mind that characterizes things as involving causality. When the Ati approach reveals as the absence of causes or conditions, makes eminent perfect sense, although it is unacceptable in lower approaches. The intent and contact of Buddhas and ordinary beings are not separate. So it is the ordinary confused mind that holds samsara and nirvana to be a duality. When the Ati approach reveals as non-dual makes eminently a perfect sense, although it is unacceptable in the lower approaches. Given the freedom in which it is irrelevant whether or not one has a realization, to believe that freedom comes through realization is the enemy of equalness. What the Ati approach reveals as a single state of equalness makes eminent perfect sense, although it is unacceptable in the lower approaches. To hold that one cannot realize the inexpressible without relying on the specific means to characterize its fool's attitude. What the Ati approach reveals is inseparably from the ultimate makes eminently perfect sense, although it is unacceptable in the lower approaches. Although great perfection is timeless and infinite without fixed depth or extent, to claim that it is unfathomable is a fool's attitude. What the Ati approach reveals as a boundless unique state makes eminently perfect sense, although it is unacceptable in lower approaches. The usual order of things is reversed within the single sphere of being, and so hope and fear concerning the fruition are cut through a state equal to space. So vast, so supreme, the enlightened mind of victorious ones is equal to space. There is no renunciation or attainment. The expanse of the single sphere, this is timeless freedom. It is irrelevant whether or not one has realization. A yogin in context on the path equal to space with nothing needing to be done. This timelessly awakened awareness that enters no object, does not wander in samsara, for it is beyond all basis of confusion. No one at all is confused, for there is no context for confusion. Everything lies within the scope of the basic space of phenomena, a single lucid expanse. With no time frame, this spaciousness is equal to space itself. Samsara is primordially pure, a timeless and spontaneously present state of utter relaxation. One does not enter a state of freedom or attain nirvana. The unchanging vast expanse, samsara and nirvana, has never known existence. Here there is no frame of reference for renunciation or attainment, hope or fear, but rather a supremely spacious expanse that is primordially enlightened ground of being. All things are mere labels, for in actuality they are beyond characterization or expression. Having decisively experienced that, so drop reification and effort. If there is a deliberate frame of reference, it is a cause of bondage. Do not rely on any fixed constructs whatsoever. Let go in evenness. It is of no concern whether or not the phenomena are timelessly free. It is of no concern whether or not the way of abiding is pure by nature. It is of no concern whether or not mind itself is free of elaboration. It is of no concern whether or not anything has ever existed within the fundamental, unconditioned, genuine state. It is of no concern whether or not samsara and nirvana are by nature duality. It is of no concern whether or not all thoughts and expressions are transcended. It is of no concern whether or not confused attempts at proof and refutation are demolished. It is of no concern whether or not the view to be realized has been realized. It is of no concern whether or not you meditate on the ultimate meaning of the true nature phenomena. It is of no concern whether or not you engage in examination, since there is nothing to accept or reject. It is of no concern whether or not the way of abiding has ever existed as the fruition. It is of no concern whether or not you have traversed the paths and levels of realization. It is of no concern whether or not you are free of all obscurations. It is of no concern whether or not the development and completion stages perfect your true nature. It is of no concern whether or not the fruition of liberation is attained. It is of no concern whether or not you wander in the 6 states of samsara. It is of no concern whether or not the nature of being is spontaneous presence. It is of no concern whether or not you are bounded by dualistic perception of affirmation and denial. It is of no concern whether or not you have arrived at enlightened intent of the true nature of phenomena. It is of no concern whether or not you follow in the footsteps of masters of the past. No matter what arises, even if heaven and earth change places, there is a bare state of relaxed openness without any underlying basis, without any reference point, nebulous, ephemeral, and evanescent. This is the mode of a lunatic, free of duality, of hope and fear. With unbiased view and meditation, ordinary consciousness that is caught up in reification collapses. Without the entanglements of wishful thinking, there is no thing to strive for or achieve. Let whatever happens, happen, and whatever manifests, manifest. Let whatever occurs, occur, and whatever is, be. Let whatever is anything at all be nothing at all. With your conduct unpredictable, you make the final leap into awareness, without the slightest basis for determining what is spiritual or not. Or so this bare state with no reference point is beyond the cage of philosophy. Whether eating, moving around, lying down, or sitting, day and night, you rest in infinite evenness, so that you experience the true nature of phenomena as their equalness. There are no gods to worship, no demons to exorcise, nothing to cultivate in meditation. This is the completely ordinary state. With this single state of evenness, the uncontrived ruler that has no pride, there is oneness, a relaxed, unstructured openness. How delightful things are timelessly ensured without having to be done, and being free of effort and achievement, you are content. Given that there is no basis for the view of specific contexts for meditation, there is no factor of conduct or fruition. Since there is no speculation, ordinary ideas of achievement come to an end. Since there is nothing to abandon, antidotes, constricting fixations are transcended. There is not the slightest sense of being anything or everything or even something that is or is not. And so whatever manifests, whatever rises, is inevitably free. Phenomena are ineffable. They do not exist as timelessly free, naturally free, or not free. And so the single state of evenness, without no reference point, is beyond being any phenomena that could be decisively experienced. Within the spacious expanse, the spacious expanse, the spacious vast expanse, I, Longchenpa, for whom the lucid expanse of being is infinite, experience everything as embraced within the blissful expanse, a single non-dual expanse. I, Naso Rangdol, have reached the point of natural freedom where phenomena resolve. Unchanging spontaneous presence is the pinnacle of my excellent counsel. Moreover, you who follow my example, bring everything together thus within the timeless range of a single vast expanse. In this way, you will gain the ongoing state of authentic being on the level of Samantapantara. This is the 9th section of the precious treasury of the basic space of phenomena, demonstrating the decisive experience that one Okay. Awakened mind is by nature primordially pure. The true nature of phenomena is such that there is nothing to discard or adopt, nothing that comes or goes, nothing to achieve by trying. Rather, the sun and the moon of utterly lucidity arise when one rests naturally in the spacious expanse that is the true nature of phenomena. Without sense objects being blocked or mind being reified, if there is no straying from the natural state of spontaneous equalness, you arrive at the enlightened intent of the supreme spaciousness, Samantabhadra. Without the arising and subsiding of thoughts, there is naturally limpid, pristine state, like the unwavering evenness of a limpid ocean, free of the occurrence of or involvement in thoughts, free of hope or fear. You abide within the state of naturally occurring timeless awareness, the true nature of which is profoundly lucid. Without the compulsion of ordinary mind, there is an unfeigned state, a natural settling, uncontrived and unadulterated, though it cannot be characterized with words. This absorption is the expanse of being, the true nature of which cannot be characterized. Involves neither meditation nor something to meditate on. And so laxity and agitation dissipate naturally, and enlightened intent occurs naturally. It's not ensured by achievement, but rises as basic space. Without rejection, samsara, you perceive it to be naturally occurring timeless awareness, through the pure yoga of the dynamic energy of the vast expanse of being. In the timeless unity of sensory appearances and mind, the natural state, settled state that is the true nature of phenomena, meditative absorption is experienced as an unwavering, ongoing flow. Thus the Vajra pinnacle, the most excellent enlightened mind of Samantabhadra, is the most sublime spacious state equal to space. The most sublime meditation of all involves no differentiation or exclusion. It is spontaneously present as the superb, timelessly infinite monarch. The ongoing flow of utter lucidity, timeless and omnipresent, is spontaneously present within this context in which nothing is discarded or adopted. And so is the most sublime enlightened intent, the basic space of phenomena, the nature of samsara and nirvana. This vast expanse, unwavering, undescribable, and equal to space, is timelessly and innately present in all beings. It is the ordinary confused mind that perceives sensory appearances to be something other than oneself. It is the ordinary confused mind that believes in meditation and making an effort. The true nature of confusion is the realm of equalness, the natural state of rest, the natural expanse that is unwavering and primordially pure. There's nothing to do and no effort to make. Whether or not you are resting is irrelevant. Given the unchanging, spontaneously present nature of phenomena, if you look again and again with self-knowing awareness, free of any complicating conceptual framework, you see that there is nothing to look at. Nothing to look at. This is the view of omnipresent awareness. Given awareness which is not cultivated in meditation, in which nothing is discarded or adopted, if you meditate again and again, you see that there is nothing to cultivate in meditation. Nothing to cultivate in meditation is the meditation of omnipresent awareness. Given the way of abiding non-dual and free of acceptance and rejection, if you engage in conduct again and again, you see that there is no conduct to enact. No conduct to enact, this is the conduct of omnipresent awareness. Given spontaneous presence, timelessly ensured and free of hope and fear, if you strive to achieve again and again, you will see that there is nothing to achieve. Nothing to achieve, this is the fruition of omnipresent awareness. Within the state of equalness, there are no limits about such objects and no reification of ordinary mind. So the occurrence of and involvement in hope and fear are pacified. Abiding in the equalness of sense objects and mind means that, as a matter of course, there is no straying from the expanse that is the true nature of phenomena. One abides in an omnipresent state, which what are characterized as sense objects do not exist as objects. Since there is no omnipresent awareness, timeless and non-dual, within the state of great perfection, the indivisibility of samsara and nirvana, everything is in a state of infinite oneness, without acceptance or rejection. What is tangible and what is intangible are equal in basic space. Buddhas and ordinary beings are equal in basic space. Relative reality and ultimate reality are equal in basic space. Flaws and positive qualities are equal in basic space. All directions, above, below, and in between, are equal in basic space. Therefore, whatever display arises from that naturally occurring state, even as it arises, things arise equally, none being better or worse. What need is there to accept or reject them by applying antidotes? When things abide, they abide equally, none being better or worse. Whatever is now taking place in your mind, rest in natural peace. When things are free, they are equally free, none being better or worse. In the wake of being conscious of them, do not continue to suppress or indulge in them. Within awakened mind itself, the expanse of the ground of being, the way in which everything rises as its dynamic energy and display is unpredictable. Even as things arise equally, they arise within the primordial expanse. Even as they arise equally, they arise within the basic space of their equalness. Even as they abide equally, their true nature is a natural state of rest. Even as they abide equally, they abide within the basic space of their equalness. Even as they are freed equally, this constitutes the expanse of naturally occurring timeless awareness. Even as they are freed equally, they are freed within the expanse of within the basic space of their equalness. Given naturally occurring awareness, the timeless equalness of everything, arising and non-arising, are timelessly non-existent in basic space. Abiding and non-abiding are timelessly non-existent in basic space. And freedom and the absence of freedom are timelessly non-existent in basic space. Within awareness, the supreme state of unwavering equalness. Even as things arise, they arise naturally, holding to their own place. Even as they abide naturally, holding to their own place. Even as they are freed naturally, holding to their own place. Given that awareness is unchanging, free of elaboration, everything is of the nature of space. What arises timelessly. What abides timelessly, and what is free timelessly. Thoughts arise, abide, and are freed. Their simultaneous arising and being freed is uninterrupted. Since it is uninterrupted, there is no separation into cause and effect. Since there is no cause and effect, the abyss of samsara has been crossed. Since there is no longer an abyss, where could one go astray? The expanse of Samantabhadra is timelessly unchanging. The expanse of Vajrasattva is without transition or change. The term Buddhahood is nothing more than a label, for what is simply recognition of the very essence of being, the way of abiding. With the realization of this, there are no phenomena to accept or reject. So all things that are in the state of infinite evenness, that is their sole true nature. As on the Isle of Gold, there is no division or exclusion. This nature is not subject to limitation, for errors and obscurations have been seen through. Within awakened mind itself, in which there are no pitfalls, the three kayas involving no effort are spontaneously perfect. So the phrase beyond imagination or expression is a mere figure of speech. Sensory appearances are unrestricted. Awareness is evident and naturally occurring. Since the genuine state of uncontrived rest is unobscured and unobstructed, with no division into outer and inner, it is evident as the supreme nature of phenomena. Let your mind and body relax deeply in a carefree state, with an easygoing attitude like a person who has nothing more to do. Let your mind and body rest in whatever way is comfortable, neither tense nor loose. However things stay, they stay within their fundamental nature. However they dwell within their fundamental nature. However they move within their fundamental nature. Fundamentally, there is no coming or going within the basic space of enlightenment. The enlightened forms of victorious ones do not come or go. However description occurs, it occurs within its fundamental nature. However expression occurs, it occurs within its fundamental nature. Fundamentally, there is no description or expression within awakened mind. The enlightened speech of the victorious ones of the three times is indescribable and inexpressible. However thinking occurs, it occurs within its fundamental nature. However conceptualization occurs, it occurs within its fundamental nature. There is never any thinking or conceptualizing within awakened mind. The enlightened mind of the victorious ones of the three times is free of thinking and conceptualizing. Since what is non-existent can occur in any way at all, that is nirmanakaya. Since the richness of being enjoys itself, that is sambhogakaya. Since no substantial basis for these two exists, that is dharmakaya. The fruition in the expanse within which the three kayas are spontaneously present. Within the very state that is the vast expanse of awakened mind, the concepts of ordinary thinkings do not occur. If the characteristics of ordinary consciousness do not stir in the mind, that itself is enlightened intent, the unique state of Buddhahood. The nature of enlightenment is similar to the spacious vault of the sky. The most sublime form of meditation involves no recollection or thinking. One's nature is unwavering and uncontrived, unplanned and completely free of the formation of ideas. The true nature of phenomena, the naturally settled state, is without transition or change throughout the three times. The most sublime form of meditation involves no stirring or proliferation of all-consuming thoughts. Any abiding in suchness is the sacred state of mind, the unique state of Buddhahood, free of all characterization. It is the unwavering basic space of phenomena, a state of evenness that transcends reifying concepts. This is the expanse of the enlightened intent of the victorious ones, the sublime spacious nature of being. When the bonds of physical and mental contrivance are abandoned, there is unfeigned relaxation. No matter what recollection stirs in the mind, if you do not waver from the context of the true nature of phenomena, that of resting in the ground of being, everything is the spacious expanse of the enlightened intent of Samantabhadra. Since nothing is reified or discarded, there is none of the tension or laxity of the compulsive mind. The unrestricted state of natural settling, just as it is ensured as a matter of course. Unwavering infinite evenness is an expanse with no fixed dimension. If all ordinary thinkings occur naturally and is pacified naturally, this is the sky-like enlightened intent of Vajrasattva. If you maintain an undistracted state within the uncontrived expanse of being, even engaging in thoughts concerning sense objects is within the scope of the true nature of phenomena. As for that true nature, it is non-conceptual and as spacious as the sky. But if you try to contrive it deliberately and compulsively, it becomes a cage of characteristics. Though you may spend day and night in such meditation, that is the bondage of fixation, pure and simple. The victorious one stated that it resembles the meditative stability of the gods. Therefore, it is extremely crucial that your mind, which is undistracted, and in which effort and striving have been eradicated, settle naturally beyond reifying effort. Since naturally occurring timeless awareness is without limitations or bias, it cannot be characterized as something, for all elaboration naturally subsides. Therefore, give up creating more concepts. Train in the ultimate meaning of supreme spacious, free of any foundation. The unique nature of phenomenon is truly occurring timeless awareness. The unique view is freedom from the limitations of elaboration. In the unique meditation, nothing is discarded or adopted. Nothing comes or goes. Excuse me. In the unique conduct, there is no duality of acceptance and rejection. In the unique fruition is free of the duality of renunciation and attainment. This is the enlightened intent of naturally occurring spacious presence. The true nature of all phenomena in their entirety, the universe of appearances and possibilities, whether of samsara or nirvana, is the primordial state. Since it does not stray from naturally occurring timeless awareness itself, understand it to be enlightened intent within everything at rest in the ground of being. Concerning phenomena that manifest as mirrored sense objects, without thinking in any way, this is how to rest. Rest spontaneously in the natural settled state, free of the proliferation and resolution of thoughts. Abide as a matter of course within the expanse of equalness, the true nature of phenomena. Neither focusing your senses on, nor letting your gaze wander to, the manifestations of sensory appearances in all their variety, neither thinking of self nor conceiving of others. Rest naturally lucid in the supremely spacious state of complete openness. Given that enlightened intent of naturally occurring timeless awareness in which everything is equal, expansive and elevated mind free of the proliferation and resolution of thoughts, the experience of blending with space without any division into outer and inner or in between, arises as meditative absorption that is blissful, clear, and free of elaboration. Given the enlightened intent of the true nature of phenomena, which never strays from the state of rest, the ground of being, there is no division into outer and inner, for that nature is free of the elaboration of dualistic perception. There is no ordinary mind fixating on something outer, a sense object. So nothing is reified as an object, and your perception of the universe are free of fixation. No context exists for taking rebirth in samsara. This is similar to space. There is no inner concept of mind as self, so nothing is reified as subject, and the all-consuming thought patterns of conditioned existence are stilled. The potential for rebirth in samsara is cut through at the root. At that point, you have arrived at the enlightened intent of dharmakaya, like space in which there is no division into outer and inner, and no frame of reference for phenomena based on confusion. You have touched on the point of resolution, and since there is no coming or going, everything is an infinite expanse of the pure realm of Samantabhadra. You have reached the sublime palace of Dharmakaya. If awareness in the moment does not stray from the ground of being, familiarization with that experience negates any furthering of conditioned existence. You are free of the karma and habitual patterns that perpetuate birth. You have come to the decisive experience of causality described as the equalness of samsara and nirvana. You have arrived at the heart essence of enlightenment, which does not abide in conditioned existence of the state of peace. It is crucial that you distinguish between this and a one-pointed state of calm abiding. This is the enlightened intent of the natural great perfection. If you stray from your fundamental nature, the functioning of conceptual mind is samsara, pure and simple. It involves cause and effect. You have not come to the decisive experience. A person who makes this mistake falls lower and lower. Therefore, the sublime secret, great perfection, does not stray from basic space, and the expression of dynamic energy resolves within the ground of being. Enlightened intent abides as an unwavering state of equalness. Within this context, there is no cause and effect, no concerted effort. View, for example, cannot be cultivated in meditation. Although the mode of cessation is described as having neither center nor limit, when dynamic energy itself deviates from this natural state, the mirrored display rises as the multiplicity of the universe of appearances and possibilities. So never say categorically, there is no cause and effect. Interdependence ensures that conditioned composite phenomena are beyond enumeration and imagination. Confused perception in samsara and even states of peace and bliss are beyond enumeration and imagination. All of this constitutes the very process of interdependence, which is the coming together of causes and conditions. If you evaluate your fundamental unconditioned nature, you find it never existed as anything whatsoever. It has never existed as anything whatsoever. So too, in taking this as your path, you have no frame of reference whatsoever. For straying from that fundamentally unconditioned nature in all its immediacy. Rather, you appreciate it within the context of enlightened intent. Having reached the ultimate state in the immediacy of your fundamentally unconditioned nature, you are not sullied by anything at all. Afflictive emotions, karma, and habitual patterns have no support within this vast expanse, but are the playing of the magical games of illusion. You must be liberated from this, so please come to a decisive experience of causality. As a means of doing so, there is nothing superior to this approach. Therefore, it is crucial not to stray from the enlightened intent of the true nature of phenomena. This is the expense of my profound and heartfelt advice. It is crucial to go beyond what everything is or is not, transcending is and is not. This is the 10th section of the precious treasure, the basic space of phenomena, demonstrating that enlightened intent does not deviate from the true nature of phenomena. Okay, 11th chapter. Within the oneness of everything as awakened mind, equal to space, dualistic perception draws you into confusion, conditioned existence, and causality. Since sensory appearances based on confusion are illusory and have no true support, when you encounter them directly, maintain the experience of their leaving no trace, free of evaluation. When something unwanted falls into your lap, you have a negative reaction, such as anger, dislike, envy, upset, irritation, anxiety, depression, mental anguish, or fear of death and rebirth. When such reactions arise as is displayed due to the dynamic energy, identify them as such. Do not renounce them, indulge in them, refine them away, transform them, look at them, or meditate on them. Rather, rest spontaneously in the single natural settled state of evenness, free of the proliferation and resolution of conceptual frameworks. Mind is a pure expanse of space in which things vanish naturally and leave no trace, arises with intensity from within, pristinely lucid. Within unconstrained awareness, which neither is nor is not, sensory appearances are not fixated on as anything, but rather are encountered directly. This brings about natural rest in the state that cannot be reified as anything, and suppression and indulgence, which are not anything that can be freed in some way, fade without leaving a trace. An experience without fixation wells up from within. This itself, just as it is the timelessly spacious expanse of enlightened intent. Similarly, you may experience what is desirable and brings joy to the mind. Things accomplished with ease, friends, pleasant news, wealth to be enjoyed, and attractive places and regions. With anything attractive, there arises a state of mind that is naturally enriched by joy. When you identify this and rest imperturbably, settling naturally, you experience it as uncontrived and spontaneously present in primordial basic space. You may have a neutral attitude when you are going about or sitting or resting quite indifferentially. That is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Regardless of what arises, identify its nature as it arises without reacting positively or negatively. Thus, the true nature of phenomena, the naturally settled state without differentiation or exclusion, is called ignorance, free as supremely utter lucidity. At night and other times when you are overtaken by sleep, as you lie in naturally settled state, free of the proliferation and resolution of thoughts, sensory appearances that manifest in obvious ways of ways disappear, so reification of them disappears as well. With the disappearance of even what is subtle or very subtle, together with the reification of it, the mind that is aware in a uniform non-conceptual state abides naturally free of occurrence of and involvement in thoughts as well as hope and fear. This is the context in which all consuming concepts are free within the basic space of phenomena, and so it's described as samsara being free as nirvana. When even sleep is the primordial vast expanse occurring naturally. Expressions of dynamic energy are absorbed within the ground of being into the basic space that is its essence, so that all the elaborations perceived as a display subside as a matter of course. This is the enlightened intent of naturally occurring timeless awareness, in which nothing need to be done. Thus all desirable, undesirable, and neutral mental states, in which the three poisons arise as a display due to dynamic energy, occur within basic space arising within the context of that space. Since they occur only within basic space, not straying from it is the least. Without trying to anticipate or manipulate them in any way, it is crucial to identify basic space itself, for as soon as you rest in that context, they will subside naturally, vanish naturally, and be freed naturally. Moreover, all afflictive emotions, karma, and habitual patterns are magical expressions arising as a display due to dynamic energy. Antidotes that bring improvement, even the path to liberation, are magical expressions arising as a display due to dynamic energy. Since both arise timelessly as a display due to this energy, it is crucial to rest without contrivance within the state of recognition. They are equal in mode, equal in manner, and equal in stirring from the ground of being. They occur circumstantially, are compounded, and do not transcend causality. So it is essential that to transcend causality, resting naturally, resting imperturbably. This is the very pinnacle of the sublime secret approach. Do not speak about it to those of lesser aptitude, but keep it extremely secret. By being interpreted, the teaching concerning the heart essence will be distorted. Exaggeration and underestimation are at odds with enlightened intent. Those who violate the bounds of secrecy fall endlessly into the lower states. Therefore, the legacy of the most majestic and utterly secret spiritual approach is taught and entrusted to holy people with good fortune. In brief, whatever circumstance manifests, whether a subject, object, or state of mind, do not apply antidotes or make an effort to abandon it. For the key point of natural settled awareness is to rest naturally, to rest imperturbably. Though all pleasure and pain are ways in which awareness arises, you are bound to condition existence by reifying them, dualistically as things to accept or eliminate. Whatever appearances manifest are equal as sense objects, simply what is evident to the sense faculties. Whatever thoughts arise are equal as mental events, simply conscious states to leave no trace. Both are equal in the moment, simply the bonds of denial or affirmation. In actuality, they are equal in the final analysis, nothing but appearances that have no basis. Sense objects are equal in their distinctness. Upon examination, simply leaving no traces. Ordinary states of consciousness are equal in essence. Upon analysis, nothing but space. Objects and mind are non-dual, simply pure open space. Whoever understands this in this way is a descendant of Samantabhadra, a sublime spiritual heir of the victorious ones, a master of awareness in the highest sense. Thus phenomena are equally existent, equally non-existent, equally apparent, equally empty, equally true, equally false. So cast aside all antidotes that involve renunciation, all concerted effort, all binding fixation. Expand into supreme equalness in which sense objects do not exist. Expand into supreme awareness in which ordinary mind does not exist. Expand into supreme purity and equality in which flaws do not exist. This is the 11th section of the precious treasure of the basic space of phenomena, demonstrating that manifest circumstances equal to space in extent are pure. Okay, in the 12th chapter. All phenomena are timelessly free in awakened mind, so there is no phenomena that is not free. Samsara is timelessly free, free in primordial purity. Nirvana is timelessly free, free in spontaneous perfection. Sensory appearances are timelessly free, free in having no basis or foundation. Conditioned existence is timelessly free, free in the heart essence of enlightenment. Elaboration is timelessly free, free in the absence of limiting alternatives. Non-elaboration is timelessly free, free in unborn purity. Pleasure is timelessly free, free in the evenness that is the true nature of phenomena. Pain is timelessly free, free in the uniform spaciousness of the ground of being. Neutral sensations are timelessly free, free in dharmakaya equal to space. Purity is timelessly free, free in the emptiness of underlying purity. Impurity is timelessly free, free in the supreme state of total freedom. Levels of realization and spiritual paths are timelessly free, free in transcending the stages of development and completion. View and meditation are timelessly free, free in the absence of renunciation and acceptance. Conduct is timelessly free, free in the wholly positive state. Fruition is timelessly free, free in the absence of hope and fear. Samaya is timelessly free, free in the supreme nature of phenomena. Recitation and mantra repetitions are timelessly free, free in transcending verbal expression. Meditative absorption is timelessly free, free in transcending the realm of thought. Existence and non-existence are timelessly free, for freedom lies in the transcendence of extremes. Affirmation and denial are timelessly free, for freedom lies in the lack of any basis or foundation. What is authentic is timelessly free, for freedom lies in the transcendence of conceptual framework. What is not authentic is timelessly free, for freedom lies in the transcendence of conceptual bias. Karma is timelessly free, for freedom lies in the absence of any sullying factors. Afflictive emotions are timelessly free, for freedom lies in the absence of either bondage or freedom. Habitual patterns are timelessly free, for freedom lies in the lack of any basis for supporting them. The consequences of actions are timelessly free, for freedom lies in the lack of any basis for experiencing them. Antidotes are timelessly free, free in the absence of anything to abandon. There is neither renunciation nor acceptance, but freedom in expansiveness equal to space itself. Freedom is timelessly free, free in the absence of bondage. The lack of freedom is timelessly free, free in the absence of both bondage and freedom. Relaxation is timelessly free, free in the absence of anything to be relaxed. The state of resting imperturbably is timelessly free, free in the absence of anything to be brought to rest. In brief, all phenomena that are appearances are possibilities, as well as that is neither an appearance nor a possibility is beyond ordinary phenomena. All these are already timelessly free in basic space, so there is no need now for anyone to make an effort to free them anew. Even though you might make an effort to do this, it would be pointless. So do not strive or try to achieve. Don't look at the concepts of your mind. Don't meditate, do not meditate on the phenomena of your ordinary consciousness. Don't analyze, do not analyze sense objects and ordinary mind. Don't try to achieve, do not try to achieve results out of hope and fear. Don't reject, do not reject afflictive emotions and karma. Don't accept, do not accept anything as true. Don't bind, do not bind your mind stream. Since everything reverts to a state of evenness with no object whatsoever existing, there is no orderly process, there are no phenomena, there is no identifiable frame of reference. The ground collapses, the path collapses, and any sense of a fruition collapses. So you cannot conceive in the slightest of good or bad, loss or injury. Your experience of evenness is decisive, timelessly so, and you feel certainty about the universe of appearances and possibilities. The division between samsara and nirvana collapses. Not even basic space exists innately. There is no point, no reference point, no how is it, what is it? It is this. What can any of you do? Where is the I? What can anyone do about it? What was so before, but now is not? Ha ha! I burst out laughing at such a great marvel as this. Since the perspective of confusion, the universe of appearances and possibilities collapses. The day and night are timelessly pristine, naturally pristine, pristine in space. Days and days are pristine, months, years, and eons are pristine. One thing is pristine, everything is pristine. The spiritual and the non-spiritual are pristine. Samsara and nirvana and the ground of confusion are pristine in primordial basic space. The term basic space, a product of conventional mind, is pristine. However you strive, whatever effort you make, what now will be of value? The entanglements of the desiring mind resolve, the supreme marvel of space. The nature of this irreligious vigor resolves in such a state. The fortress of the foundation of jewels and of surrounding space are spontaneously present within enlightened intent, which is the timelessly free in that it has no underlying basis. So the universe of the three states of conditioned existence is free within the supreme state in which no sense objects exist. Those who bind themselves by holding to biases where none exists do not understand the nature of being. They themselves corrupt themselves. They themselves delude themselves. They are confused, so confused. They are confused by the perception of an abyss where no confusion exists. Whether or not there is confusion, there is the expense of awakened mind. There is never any confusion or freedom in awakened mind. You are bound by reifying what arises from it as a display. In actuality, there is neither bondage nor freedom. Neither sense objects nor ordinary mind exists. Do not be seduced into believing in the existence of what does not exist. Awareness is free in that it is timelessly awakened Buddhahood. Do not confine it within the trap of ordinary mind of reifying fixation. The completely pure expanse in which objects never exist is the expanse of awakened mind, the supremely blissful ground equal to space. Samsara is not possible within that concept, which abides primordially and innately. Given that the unique sphere of being is without edges or corners, to hold that things are the same or different is the confusion of ordinary mind. Given that naturally occurring timeless awareness has neither causes nor condition, perceiving it to be involved in the samsaric process is a hindrance to enlightenment. Given that unbiased spontaneous presence is free of limitation, fixation on limitations of biased views is the Mara that creates complacency. Given that the unceasing emptiness has neither substance nor characteristics, labeling things as existent, non-existent, manifest, or empty is the perversity of ordinary consciousness. Therefore, cast off the trap of whatever biases you hold, and understand that unbiased, spontaneous presence is like space. Regardless of what arises to the six avenues of consciousness, appearances, seen, sounds, heard, everything is naturally clear and expands with no division or exclusion. Come to this decisive experience within the timelessly free expanse of equalness. Awareness is basic space because whatever manifests occurs within the single state of equalness. It is the ground of being because it gives rise to all enlightened qualities. The spacious expanse of the ground of being, naturally occurring timeless awareness, is refined because it is timelessly immaculate, unsullied by samsara. It is consummate because enlightened qualities are spontaneously present beyond cause and effect. It is mind because self-knowing awareness is the utter lucidity heart essence. Everything is subsumed and completely pure within the awakened mind. Within the very essence of what arises as a display due to dynamic energy, our reawakening to Buddhahood in the moment comes with the realization. In the absence of realization, through thought patterns based on the confusion of non-recognition arise. the 8 avenues of consciousness that develop from the ground of all ordinary experiences, as well as others, as well as their objects. Nothing that arises as the display the entire universe of appearances and possibilities, stray from the expanse of awakened mind. If you abide in the state of equalness without straying from the expanse of mind, you fully embrace samsara and nirvana, free in the spacious expanse of enlightenment. The naturally settled state, samsara and nirvana, cannot possibly exist within the fundamentally unconditioned state. The naturally settled state, positive and negative acceptance and rejection, cannot possibly exist. The naturally settled state, dualistic perceptions involving renunciation or attainment, cannot possibly exist. The naturally settled state, the 5 emotional poisons, cannot possibly exist. The naturally settled state, the restrictions and extremes, cannot possibly exist. The naturally settled state, dynamic energy, and the arising of things cannot possibly exist. The naturally settled state, there is nothing to prevent it from being labeled however inadequately. Within naturally occurring timeless awareness, the state beyond labels in which phenomena resolve. Whatever arises is its dynamic energy, and display is in fact without basis. The way of abiding in which there is neither bondage nor freedom is the naturally unsettled state. What is symbolically labeled freedom is simply a state in which things vanish naturally, leaving no trace. And since there is no contradiction in labeling it as anything or nothing, we describe it with the words timelessly free. There is no division or exclusion. There is freedom in the expanse of spontaneous presence. There is no union or separation. That is the freedom in the expanse of the sphere of being. Anything at all, there is freedom in the expanse of which everything is indeterminate. Forms manifest, sensory appearances are free in their own place. Sounds are audible, what is audible is free in its own place. Orders are sensed, sensation are free in basic space. Flavors are tasted, tactile sensations are felt. They are free in the context of their own place. Consciousness and mental events are free, without basis, foundation, or support. There is freedom in oneness, freedom in the expanse that is true nature of phenomena. There is no duality, freedom in the equalness of sense objects and mind. There is naturally occurring freedom, freedom in the expanse of timeless awareness. There is spontaneously present freedom, freedom in the purity of ground of being as basic space. There is freedom in the variety of things, freedom within the unique expanse. There is freedom not subject to extreme, freedom within the spontaneously present expanse. There is universal freedom, freedom within the expanse of the heart essence. There is freedom as utterly lucid, freedom within the expanse of the sun and moon. There is freedom as the true nature of phenomena, freedom within the expanse of space. There is freedom of objects in the phenomenal world, freedom within the expanse of the ocean. There is unchanging freedom, freedom within the expanse of the most majestic mountain. There is primordial freedom, freedom in the unborn expanse. There is freedom in the single taste of evenness, freedom in the expanse of timeless awakening. There is total freedom, freedom in the timelessly unfolding expanse. This is the 12th section of the precious treasure of the basic space of phenomena, demonstrating that all phenomena are by nature timelessly free in awakened mind. Okay, now the last chapter. If through the key point of effortlessness there is familiarity with the very essence of enlightenment, the spontaneous presence of phenomena, although Buddhahood is timeless, there is awakening to Buddhahood anew. This is the unsurpassable pinnacle of the Vajra heart essence, the vast expanse of enlightenment, the very essence of the 9 progressive approaches. Although the orbs of the sun and moon are radiantly luminous in the vault of the sky, they can be completely obscured by thick clouds which prevents them from being seen. This parallels the way in which enlightenment, though present in you, is not apparent. Thick clouds vanish naturally when left alone in the sky. Similarly, the clouds of causality, it's like the sun shining clearly in the expanse of the basic space of phenomena. Everything rises without bias due to the dynamic energy, which is like the sun's rays. They suffuse the earth and bodies of water with warmth, so that a display of cloud arises, formed from water vapor. This obscures this essence itself and even its dynamic energy. Similar due to the impure display of natural dynamic energy deriving from the essence itself. One's perception of suchness, the heart essence, is obscured. The universe of appearances and possibilities consists of an inconceivable range of perception based on confusion. The dynamic energy of the sun's rays stirs the wind that disperses clouds. Similarly, with the realization of the very essence of being, its display is explained as its adornment. Confusion, which has always been free, is now free in its own place. Confused perception and reification are purified in basic space without having to be renounced. You have no idea where they have gone. The spontaneous present sun shines as the kayas and timeless awareness in the limpid sky. It does not come from somewhere else, but it's simply awareness' own pure manifestation. The wings of the Garuda unfold within the egg. As long as it is enveloped by the shell, it is not evident. But when the shell breaks, the Garuda soars into the vault of the sky. Similarly, although the contamination of confused dualistic thinkings has already resolved, when the shell, the result of this contamination, breaks, spontaneously present awareness immediately arises in and of itself, naturally lucid. The vast perspective of the kayas and timeless awareness fills the sky of basic space, with recognition of the very essence of being come freedom within the expanse of Samantabhad. Since the display of responsiveness is immeasurable throughout the 10 directions, emanations issue forth to ensure total benefit for beings. Enlightened actions are revealed for as long as samsara lasts. This is the impartial responsiveness, dynamic energy arising for the natural settled essence of beings. From the natural settled essence of being, so that through its display there is abundant benefit for others. Although the impure display, along with all it entails, thoroughly subsides, emanation manifests for beings in impure states. They arise out of responsiveness of teachers, a power that is simply so, and the pure karma aspirations of being with positive minds. At that point, although there are innumerable emanations in all realms, leading countless beings to enlightenment, they do not stray from basic space. Dharmakaya of the teachers, naturally occurring timeless awareness, not subject to restrictions or extremes, arising naturally within basic space in the realm of Ghanayuva, an inconceivable array of Sambhoga Kaya manifests. Two masters of awareness, Dakas and Dakinis, bodhisattvas on the 10th level of realization. Moreover, it manifests within basic space at the very essence of spontaneous presence, due to the responsiveness of teachers and the inspiration and virtue of those to be guided. The essence of Dharmakaya is naturally occurring timeless awareness. This display is the reservoir of omniscient timeless awareness, abiding as the single sphere of being within primordial basic space. The sense of Sambhokakaya is the spontaneously present nature of being. Its displays as the 5 Buddha families and the 5 aspects of timeless awareness, manifesting to fill all realms of space. The essence of Nirmanaka is the ground for the rising of responsiveness. Its display manifests in whatever way is necessary to guide under any circumstances, while its supreme enlightened activity brings mastery. The kayas are not achieved by effort involving cause and effect. They are timelessly and spontaneously present, manifesting within a state of resting imperturbably, the most sublime secret manifest in this lifetime. You are not lured away from it in the interval after death, and so the pinnacle approach of the Vajra heart essence is exalted above all other approaches, based as they are on causes or result. This is the 13th section of the precious treasure of the basic space of phenomena, demonstrating that since all phenomena already constitute the timelessly awakened state of Buddhahood, awakening to Buddhahood anew happens without effort or achievement. Now the dedication. Such is the song of Vajra heart essence, the true nature of phenomena. This primordially pure nature equal to space arises naturally in the unchanging environment free of underlying basis or foundation, becoming apparent as a display that is without transition or change. This is the meaning of the spacious supreme expanse of being, an infinite state of timeless equalness. Without having gone anywhere, you reach your primordial nature. This true nature, unwavering and spontaneously present, is not subject to restriction and is free of bias. The meanings concerning the spacious realm equal to space just as it is. There the monarch of the naturally occurring vast expanse never wavers, free in the natural state of things in all their variety. I have reached the ultimate womb of basic space, which cannot be characterized as something. When my realization was certain, I, a yogi, who is like the sky, wrote the summation of my own experience together with appropriate scriptural citations, setting it down in accord with the 21 transmissions of the category of mind, the 3 sections of the category of expanse, and the 4 sections of the category of direct transmission. By this virtue may all beings without exception effortlessly reach the primordial ground. May they become spiritual rulers who spontaneously accomplish the 2 kinds of benefit, dwelling on the level of Samantabhadra without transition or change. In all directions may there be well-being, splendor, and wealth, so that everything that is wished for is spontaneously accomplished, as though in a pure realm. May the drum of spiritual teaching resound and the victory banner of liberation be raised. May the sacred teachings never wane but spread and flourish. This text, entitled The Precious Treasure of the Basic Space of Phenomena, composed on the slopes of Gangri Thekar by a yogin of the most sublime spiritual approach, Longchenpa, is now completely is now completely finished. Good fortune, good fortune, good fortune. Ashasama. Now go back to our page 40 and recite the 6 instruction syllables. Ha ashasama, ha ashasama, ha ashasama, ashasama, ashasama. Ha ashasama, 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 ashasama. Ha ashasama, ha ashasama, 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 ashasama. Ha ashasama, 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 ashasama. That first syllable, ha, is guttural, like like sha, like shu, sha, sa, like samsara, sa, ma, like ma, and ha, like ha. Ha ashasama, ha ashasama, ha ashasama, ha ashasama, ha ashasama. Ha ashasama, 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 ha ashasama. Ha ashasama, 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 ashasama. Ashasama, ashasama, ashasama. Then there's an extra on that one. I E U U R R L L A I O Wang Ha Ka Ka Ga Ga Nga Cha Cha Ja Ja Na Da 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 Na Da 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 Na Pa Pa Bam Yara La Wa Sha Sa Sa Ha Cha Om Bandra Sato Samayaman Om Bandra Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetu Deshan Tata Gato Hayo Vadata Deshan Jayo Niroda Eva Vati Maha Sharmana I E U U R R L L A I O Wang Ha Ka Ka Ga Ga Nga Cha Cha Ja Ja Nya Da 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 Na Da 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 Pa Pa Bha Bha Ma Yara La Va Sha Sa Sa Ha Cha Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetu Deshan Tata Gato Hayo Vadata Deshan Chayo Nirhoda Evam Badi Maha Sharmana Swaha A E U U R R L L A I O Wang Ha Ka Ka Ga Ga Nga Cha Cha Ja Ja Nya Da 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 Na Da 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 Na Pa Pa Ba Bam Yara La Va Sha Sa Sa Ha Cha Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetu Deshan Tata Gato Hayo Vadat Deshan Chayo Nirhoda Evam Badi Maha Shamana Swaha. Page 41. The aspirational prayers. Keho Chonju Lama Yedam Kandro Dan Sangye Janchu Sembe Sonam Malu Zewe Dala Gonsu Se Dagi Drova Simchen Gundundu Jude Takchan Lobe Jina Dani Tongan Tebudan Jemba Dan Chedan Deba Las Romaya Rekchin Druwe Jurbe Simchen Gun Yudung Omba Zomba Sanja Sho Akinis of the 10 directions and all gatherings of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all of you without exception heed us, for the benefit of sentient beings wandering in samsara, by the blessings of wearing, carrying, and reading this tantra. May all sentient beings either see the true nature, may all beings either see the true nature, or at least hear, remember, make offerings to, praise, speak about, touch, and connect with this tantra, and swiftly attain the state of perfect and complete Buddhahood. Kunzan Durje Chanche Menchen Dinchen Save Lama Yenche Ki Dove Dendo Melam Kanta Teda Tamchen Dagi Rumbar Sho. Beginning from Kuntu Sangpo and Supreme Dolce Chang until the immensely kind Root Lama, the sublime aspirations they have made for the benefit of sentient beings, may I accomplish them all. Okay, now the dedication. Page 45. Sunam de Tamje Zigba Ne Tomne Nebe Danam Pamje Shinke Gana Che Balon Tromba Ye Simbe Sole Droa Droa Shu Jembe Bao Jetara Kemba Dan Kundo Zambo Deyan Desh Dedan Gunge Jeso Dalon Jenge Wan Dedan Tamje Rabdung De Sum Shebe Gewan Tamje King Owa Gana Chodung Apate Dagyen Gewen Zawan De Genjan Zambo Cheche Rabdung Orage Janchu Semjo Rimbo Che Make Panam Ke Jurche Ke Panyam Pame Padam Gone Gondo Pevar Janchu Semdan Midre Chen Janchu Chala Shewan Dan Sange Namge Yonzun Chen De Ke Lanam Pambarsh Janchu Semba Namge Ne Droden Tola Gondro Sho Gombo Yene Gangong Pa Semjen Namla De Jursh Simchen Tamche De Dan Denjur Cheng Yendro Tamchen Tanto Tombar Sho Janchu Semba Ganta Sajupa De Dan Gunge Menlam Drubar Sho Gewa Diye Gewa Kun Sonam Yeshe Tozo Sonam Yeshe Le Juwen Tamba Kuni Tobar Sho Belan Zewe Mage Ba Yeshe No Bo Pasan Semchen rowa konze pa samba drupe trashi sho rinchen ge so deye rowa kun tato dambe che dame trashi. Ranchen dene zoba tarchen ne chenga drobe je denze parashon pende june temba peljur che tsera kondo shala je. Kelkan kondo trashi ge juru che drogun chamche sangye top juru che lama kokan sangwara sewande chondo kutse ringwara sewa. Darjen Gyabar Sewan de Lama Dan Drewan Meba Jinjin Lo Kandu Kembe Kyawan Tam Jendo Tore Yenden Dunden Tobash Kema Tantu Chedan Cheju Chetsu Jin Drupe Rangwa Ye Barsho Deryan Lama Damba Neje Chin Nendan Sendo Chalacha Cheto Nyen Ningbo Den Rupte Sede Sebe Jansu Garwa Sho Seba Dambe Cheran Tenje Chin Shimben Robla Chonga Mebash Lao Chen Chen Den Chore Ma Ba Yen Tam Chen Cham Che Sang Ge To Bar Sho Che Zil De Yan Ne De Kil Kor Shin Cho Ge Tan Ru Kun Do Ra Jur Lo Je Pe Mo Rab Do Ge Je Chen Sang Ge Ten Ba Dar Shin Ge Bar Sho Long Ri Te Be Mi She Drib Le De Men A San Be Te So Mon Na Cho Gom Jo Ye Ge Ne Lo Je Jin Se Shen Rab Sum Ge Na Wa Ge Bar Sho Sum Hanga Che Gu Ngang Go Dan Ye She Re Be Jam Le Sabsan Nal Jor Chembe Nyam Len La Yerme Tuki Tigle Ro Che Sho Kyawa Kuntu Yang Da Lam Jalme Che Ke Pella Long Je Chen Sadan Lam Ge Yente Rab Zot Palden Lam Me Go Pan Yuruto Sho Om Banzara Sado Samaya Manu Palaya Banzar Sadwa Teno Tirsa Dirdo Me Bawa Sudo Kayo Me Bawa Subo Kayo Me Bawa No Rato Me Bawa Sarva Siddhi Me Prayat Sarva Karma Sutta Me Zitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tantagad Benzar Mame Munzam Benzar Bhava Maha Samaya Sato Ah Okay, so it's the end of this second session. So I think we will start at 7, okay? Because 6 to 7 we have Chandrazik, so we were following your previous schedule where we didn't have Chandrazi. So now we have to remember we have Chandrazi from 6 to 7. So please join for the concluding ceremony, celebration. We'll do shower of blessings talk, and you can prepare talk on your shrine and make Dharma protector offerings and all. So we'll see you at 7, okay? Okay, touch the lake again. See you soon. Okay. See you soon. Bye bye.